Greetings, I'm Epictetus, and this is Epic Tech. I'm here today with Commander Kitten for another episode of Tekilicious, and boy, what an episode it's going to be. I think we've got some amazing new stuff because a whole new version is on the experimental branch for Interstellar Rift. Commander Kitten is in his signature black and purple. Because character customization is a thing.
Yeah, and Kitten Cam, you can see that Epic Tech is Epictetus. I did it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Whip me later. Is in his black and green as usual.
No, that was good. All right. Yeah, exactly. So let's go take a look at that in the showcase room.
Whee!
The showcase room.
I'm really proud of this.
You should be. This is a great room. This is really good. You can see that the actor is gone because the actor was last episode, which, by the way, we called it the ACTR, but kind of the unofficial official name for that is the actor. But we're not going to talk about that this episode. We're going to be talking about all the new things in version, well, experimental 0.1.46. So they've done a lot, and we had to summarize it all in 3 lines here. So character customization is the first one, and you've seen that. We're going to get into the details of that in a second. They've also added armor, and they're going to be adding a lot more to that, but we have some of the basics of that in already. And then they've made some major changes to the way mining and economy works, and we're going to be taking a look at that as well. You can customize your character from the main screen, or you can hit escape, options, and under the options screen there's now several new tabs. Some are in development because we are an experimental, but there's also the character, and you can choose male or female. You can then click on the color thing for each one of these, and there's 4 different colors for every section, so it's pretty detailed. I've been impressed with that. But then they also have these armor pieces, which, by the way, are placed in the weapon rack. Would you like to grab some of that armor and put it on for the good peoples?
I will. And I think it's actually really cool that they put it in the weapon rack, because until now there's only been like 2 items that we could put here anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it actually fits better.
Also, there's going to be different kinds of armor that gives different stats. Right now it's just armor. Like it I don't know, does it decrease damage that you take or something along those lines?
I don't actually know yet. I haven't looked, but I do want to show you this first. Here, I'll just give you this.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you can look to see what the actual item looks like.
Yes.
And I think they did a really cool job with this.
Yeah, they did a good job. It kind of is spinning around, and you can see there in the corner it says chest default armor.
I love it.
Now you can't you can't by default do anything. I can't click, or any of that kind of thing. However, if you go to tab, status, there's a new section called equipment, and it'll show you what's available, and it'll show you a preview of your character. And so I can hit chest default armor, and you can see it throws it on there, and it shows stats armor 30. And like I said, they're going to be adding new kinds of things. We don't know exactly what they're going to be adding, but there will be additional stats that can be added here, whatnot. But this is what's available right now, and it's just very cool. It looks neat. It looks really neat. Okay, yeah, so because it's hard to see what's on my character, I want to see you put some stuff on.
I think it looks a lot like marine armor.
Oh, there we go. There's all the pieces. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I like it. I think it looks pretty beautiful.
It looks very good, and it's very customizable. Now, you've gone with pretty much just black and purple, but as you saw before, there are 4 different colors that you can customize. And yeah, they've done a great job with it. Yeah. You make it in the 3D printer, and it's made, like, each piece is a little different. You can see that it's pretty much all platinum, carbon, and then there's a couple of pieces that also require steel and silicon. But that's just during this experimental update, and those recipes are likely to change. Not to mention they may be adding a lot more. We've heard that you will eventually be able to buy them in shops and find them, right?
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to go to a station and as a drifter or something, raid it and find this really, really nice piece of armor, and you just equip
Yeah.
it and go out your day.
That gives you
Be
like
awesome.
plus 30 to awesome or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
plus 30 to drifter status.
Yeah. Oh, hey, and while we're passing by, we discovered this unmentioned addition in the furniture section. There's this thing called a server data core, something like
Data
that.
core.
Data core.
Yeah, it looks like an actual computer core, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I could see, for just graphical effects on a station, you could stack a bunch of these on top of each other and put them around and that kind of thing. Now, we've talked about character customization. We've talked about the new armor sets. We've talked about that hidden little additional model. And what else? What else is in this update?
Well, in this update comes a complete rework of system generation. Like, from the ground up, literal complete rework. It changes how asteroids are spawned and how you can mine them. They now spawn in actual belts around planets, which is completely beautiful. I actually see that one this time.
Yay.
That was actually a trade drone, I believe.
Was that? Okay.
Or a mining drone.
That guy has been zipping up and down behind this window. I was standing here for the exact purpose. I was hoping that he would show up, so I had it on the recording. But he's been zipping around as we've been preparing, and I see him.
The trade drone buys from one station and sells to another. It plays the market with demand and supply.
Okay, but that's partially because stations are no longer magically restocked.
Yes.
They now actually need. Oh, there he comes again, and off he goes again.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I don't know where he's headed, but
do you think because we have shops on here, he's trading between us and the drifter station?
it's possible. I mean, that's an interesting idea. Because we do have shops on here, so maybe they are just identifying shops, and I don't know. We'll actually have to ask later. I want to go and hop in a ship and head out to an asteroid belt and see what this new, what we can find, because they've made major changes to how the sensors work. They've made changes to how mining works, how finding minerals works. And honestly, we played around with it a little bit earlier, and it's a lot of fun. It actually makes mining a lot more fun, I think. So we are still in the starter area. We're right next to the black pit, and in the starter area, there's still the regular old asteroids as we're used to them. You can see that it's kind of a mix of all the materials that you need at the very beginning to get a ship going. And these will respawn just as always. But this is one of those rare starter asteroid fields. This is not how the rest of the universe works. So we're going to get flying out into this asteroid belt. And around this planet, there's always been this asteroid belt, but they weren't really made of asteroids. It was just kind of a graphical thing. But now you can see all around us. You can see all those dots moving out there. Those are all asteroids that can be mined. So here we see there's a iron and carbon. Aha, there we go. Now we're starting to get some interesting stuff. You can see we're actually seeing lead. And you're also seeing that there's not nearly as many on screen at a time. Normally before, you get into an asteroid field and there would just be a ton of stuff and pages, and now you're just getting a few, which I like. Oh, look, there's some silicon. And we're still near a starter station, which means we're not going to find... Oh, holy cow. What? We just found platinum. Did you see that?
What? No.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that's happening is that there's now, and then I can grab that, rare items like platinum, you can run across them anywhere, but you're only going to find one asteroid. You're not going to find a bunch of them all in the same area. In order to go with that, we now also have a new scanning system.
Yes.
Sort
I will
of.
relinquish.
It's not so much that the scanning system has changed, but it's become a lot more useful. So,
I relinquish flight controls to you.
excellent. So you can see that the scanner all looks the same, and though we'll see one new change here in a moment. All right, so we're going to look around for some kind of change in the scanner. Oh, there you go. So you can see these green lines popped up for a second, and that meant that they were within harvest range.
The asteroid icons, the asteroid field icons, are still there, but they've changed to asteroid belts.
Okay, so you can
12.4.
see that this asteroid belt, the Scavarian Asteroid Belt 1, that's 12 AU out there. So you can see all of the belts, and you're not going to spend much time hunting around for a place to mine. You're going to be hunting around in a belt, finding what you're looking for, which honestly I think is a lot more interesting. Okay, well, there's one more order of business before we close out the show. We scoured through all of the comments on the last video and have made up our mind on who we want, kind of. So, as it turns out, there were two people, Daniel de Chloe and Matthew Skur. And both of these guys specifically said that they wanted a copy of the game to give to someone else. Matthew wants to give it to his little brother on the other side of the US, and Daniel wants to give it to a friend who he really thinks would enjoy the game. And so we were talking about which one of these two guys to give the game to, and we couldn't decide. So there are two winners for the contest. Matthew Skur and Daniel de Chloe, which I hope I'm saying his name right. And
honestly, it was really hard to choose. It really was.
It was. There were so many other excellent entries, and we spent a long time actually kind of arguing about who to give it to and all this kind of thing, and then we decided we're just going to go ahead and give two keys to these two guys, specifically because we loved the fact that they wanted to give them to other people. And the thing is, Interstellar Rift is all about multiplayer. You know, you can play it by yourself, and that's never a problem, but it's so much more awesome as multiplayer. And so we figured that was just a good theme for this time. We have a special guest here today. We have actually brought in Sentinel from Split Polygon himself, co-founder and artist for Interstellar Rift, right?
Yeah, that's right. Hi.
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 And you're going to answer some of our questions, which is awesome.
That is the plan.
Well, right now, you can make the basic armor in the 3D printer, and it costs, basically most of the pieces cost the same amount and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
How are we going to get armor in the future? Is this going to stay?
Well, you'll be able to build it, but later on you'll also be able to find it, and you'll be able to buy it.
Okay. So will all pieces of armor be all three, or will there be some that are unique and that kind of thing?
At least 2 basic armor sets available. And then later on you can find skins to customize those pieces. And those skins will be tied to your Steam account. As in, you'll be able to trade those through the Steam marketplace.
So the other thing, we think we ran across, so we obviously were around a planet right now, and we're in an asteroid belt, and we went and flew to another asteroid belt, and we couldn't find the planet. Are there asteroid belts without planets?
There is one giant asteroid belt that goes around the entire system.
We were wondering about that. Okay.
It's kind of like the Oort cloud in real life. Basically, a giant sphere of asteroid that surrounds the entire solar system.
Wow. Okay.
And so this is kind of like that. Only ours is a little bit smaller.
The drones. So we saw a drone flying around the station here, and we were wondering what it was doing.
Which drone was it?
Not sure. It was really quick, kind of long and skinny.
Okay. You didn't see it in the cockpit, I take it? Like
No,
when you were seeing it?
no, we
Okay,
were
so-
actually standing in the interview room at the other end of the station, and
Ah.
it was out the window, and it would kind of zip up, turn around, and zip back in like a split second. And for a while, Commander Kitten didn't even see it. It was I kept seeing it, and he thought I was just messing with him.
Okay.
I thought maybe it was like a trade drone or something, trading with the stores we have on the station, because we do have the
That
admin
is
store.
possible.
So would it? Because we have stores on this station. They're obviously admin added.
Yeah.
Could it have been trading with us?
Yeah, that's definitely possible. That's how the new system works.
Okay.
We've added mining drones and trade drones, and the mining drones will actually mine the resources you find in the star system, and then fly them back to a station with a store, and then those resources will then get sold to the station, and you can have trade drones come back and pick that and buy the resources from the station, and then distribute it to other stations in the star system.
Could I buy my own trade drones and set up a trade route and make money that way?
Yes.
Okay. Very
That's that's definitely planned. That's all of these drones that are currently added to the game that are not player controlled will eventually become player controlled.
cool. Beautiful.
But we need to add a few more systems before we can do that.
It really feels like you guys are going the right direction to make this an amazing game.
Thank you. That is the plan.
Yeah, well, of course. But it doesn't always feel that way with other games. Sometimes it feels like, oh, okay, they're just, fixing bugs and they're not going to add anything and, that kind of thing. But this feels like it's already a really fun game to play. And every time I hear about a new feature, I'm like, this is going to make the game even more amazing.
Yeah. To be fair, these big features that we've been adding lately have only been possible for the past maybe 6 months or so. Before that, we had a lot of technology that still had to be made, and now it's mostly we can focus on features. But
Yeah.
for a really long time, it was just bug fixes, small balance changes, and occasionally when we finally finished some like big technology feature, we could add a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, for the most part, it's for the past 6 months or so, it's been getting we've been able to really pick up the pace with new features. The way we look at these features when we add stuff is, okay, what do we need? What kind of technology do we need to make before we can add this, and what kind of other smaller features can we make while we work on that along the way? So for ship-to-ship combat, like where we right now we have guns. Before we could actually add in the guns and everything, we needed a way for you to make ammo, and for that we first had to make our crafting system. Then you could add in the guns, and now that we have the guns, we can work. We could add the turret, and when we add now that we have the turret, we can basically we can add in all of these other weapons. We just haven't yet because we had some other major features we had to work on, but. This is basically how we look at development. It's just what is needed and how can we use that feature, or at least the part of that feature that we can quickly make into another feature.
I see automation done a lot of times in games, and once you get to the point where you can automate, you no longer need to automate. But
yeah, this one was definitely a team effort, because the original plan for automation was to actually have conveyor belts moving stuff all around, but that eventually became became too complex and not something we could easily implement, and then also make it so it's easily changeable, and it probably would have just been a giant mess if we did it that way. But since we already have cargo teleporters and we have regular teleporters, it kind of made sense also from a I guess, kind of a lore standpoint, to actually have like cargo things teleport all over the place.
Yeah.
And then also have machines just to be set to auto, but still, it still requires you to build a device or something that maintains the device in order to keep your automation going.
So the name Split Polygon,
Mm-hmm.
where'd it come from?
Well, that's a good question, actually. So we went to our first sort of application pitch, and they were very positive about it. And we'd have to register the company with the government and everything, so we could get so they could officially endorse us. But when we were walking back from that first meeting, we walked to the train station, and we were just spitballing, and just eventually just found two words that we liked together, and that was it. That's
Okay.
Split Polygon.
That
Not
is
a very
exciting.
interesting.
No, I get that. Yeah, I get that.
The name how we came up with Interstellar Rift is a little bit more interesting.
The game begs for multiplayer. Like
It does.
I love that you can play it by yourself, but it begs for multiplayer. When you're running back and forth on a ship from the extractor to the pilot seat to the turret to the missile launcher to the to the hacking terminal to the there's so many places to be on the ship.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were going for.
And it shows.
From day one, we had this kind of philosophy of the bigger your ship gets, the bigger your crew will need to be. I have this giant ship that I've built over a course of like a month or so, but that's the thing. I believe it's the biggest ship in terms of like length that's ever been put into the game. I mean, at least I haven't seen any bigger ones out there. But yeah, that's also designed for a ship. It has 14 crew quarters, so yeah, it has a bunch of teleports in the ship itself. But if you want to run from the front all the way to the back, it'll take you like 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, nice. Thank you so much for joining us and answering all of our questions. That was really fun. I've got a lot of editing to do. This is unfortunately we talked for well over an hour and got a lot of stuff, and I'm going to have to cut a lot of it out. I'm sorry. But don't worry, you're going to get to see the most important and interesting parts of our conversations. If you enjoyed this episode of Tekilicious, then make sure and hit that thumbs up button, hit subscribe, and if you don't yet own a copy of Interstellar Rift, go out and buy it. Just buy it right now. As of right now, it's on sale on Steam. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
The Steam summer sale is currently going on. And
that's right. Now, if you're watching this in the distant future, then I'm so sorry you missed it. But it's through July something, I believe. And
July 5th, I believe.
July 5th.
Yes.
There you go. So go grab it. Treat yourself. It's even cheaper than normal. And honestly, this is probably one of the most underpriced games for the content.
Agree.
I have gotten well more than the money that I paid for it, and I paid full price. So it's well worth your money. If you enjoy exploring and you enjoy multi-crew stuff and all that kind of thing and shenanigans, yes, absolutely. And if you enjoy watching that kind of stuff, make sure and check out Kitten and I's Let's Play series, which you will find a link to in various different places. And I think that's just about it. So I'll see you next time on Epic Tech.